Welcome to the Made for Business podcast, where Catholic moms come to learn how to build a business that is simple, holy, and profitable. I'm your host, Sterling Jakewith, and today we're going to talk about feeling pressure in your business or about your business. And I was noticing recently that I was feeling pressure, like in my chest, like someone was sitting on my chest. There was actual pressure in my chest. And that wasn't a normal feeling for me. So I really noticed when it was kind of following me around. That's kind of how it felt. It felt like I didn't like this feeling. Where was it coming from? And I would try to like leave the room or mentally leave that feeling, and it just felt like it kept following me around. And it's interesting that this would just kind of pop up, this feeling of pressure. It would make a lot of sense to me that you might feel pressure if you quit a job and started a new business, or if your husband lost his job. But none of those things had happened to me. Nothing had really changed. But all of a sudden, I was starting to feel pressure. And I wanted to do this episode explaining the steps that I took to let that go. Because I think it's really common for pressure to come up. Again, if a circumstance changes in your life, or in my example, if you just start thinking something new. Because remember, our feelings come from our thoughts. So I was thinking things that were leading to the feeling of pressure. And then I was resistant to that feeling, right? Have you ever had that feeling where you kind of want to like crawl out of your own body? And like, I don't like this. I don't want to be here. I don't want to feel that. But what happens when we resist our feelings? They get bigger. They get louder. They get more insistent. And so today I'm going to break down for you the steps that I took to process and move through the feeling of pressure so I didn't experience it at the same level. So the first thing is just awareness always. Whew, I'm feeling pressure. I'm feeling the pressure to perform. I'm feeling the pressure to earn money. I'm feeling the pressure to be a good mom. I'm feeling the pressure to make my husband happy, to prove to him that I can do this. There's lots of thoughts that lead to the feeling of pressure. Okay? So just first acknowledging it, labeling it. I am feeling pressure right now. You might feel an overall sense of stress or anxiety, right? But there are a lot of different words that kind of fit under those umbrellas of stress and anxiety. And today we're talking about pressure. So once you acknowledge, oh, I'm feeling pressure, right? Describe it to yourself in your body. It's in my chest. Feels like someone's pushing on my chest. It makes it feel like it's hard to breathe, like something has changed around me and it feels hard to breathe. Isn't that incredible that you can just have some thoughts and it can make your body feel like it's hard to breathe? So, feeling the feeling of pressure. And then I like to be curious. Why am I feeling pressure? What am I feeling pressure to do? Right? Pressure is designed to get us to do something. So, for however many years old you are, you have a history of feeling the feeling of pressure, and then that feeling has driven you to do something. And for most of us, our brain thinks that works. It's like, oh, hey, Sterling, remember when you were 11 and we put a lot of pressure on you to finish your paper so that you would meet the deadline? And then you went into this hustle mode and you finished the paper and then you didn't die. Remember, that's all your brain cares about. It's like it recognizes fear and danger, and then it has you do something with the hopes that you don't die. So it doesn't care if you wrecked your sleep, if you lose your mental health, right? It's just like, but did you die? No, cool, it worked. And then the older we are, the more evidence we usually gather that responding to the feeling of pressure in whatever way that you've been used to responding, your brain is like, hey, that works. We like it. Okay. But now you know me. I'm your coach. going to keep listening to this podcast. And I'm telling you that the feeling of pressure rarely creates our best work. And the way that you can know is you can put pressure in the feeling line. So you're having some sort of thought that's leading to the feeling of pressure. And then what does your action line look like? For me, I either freeze, and sometimes it's a combination of freezing for a little bit and then like panic work. And my panic work is never my best work. So it may look productive, but it's not usually Holy Spirit inspired. It's not coming from peace or conviction. It's coming from fear and panic. I noticed that I started kind of poking my husband about things, about his business, about things with the kids from this feeling of pressure, having nothing to do with why I was feeling pressure, but from the feeling of pressure, just wanting to release it, wanting to get away from it. I was looking for things to blame or things to solve. So what does your action look like? Your action line. And in our action line are also the inactions we're taking. So the things we're not doing from a place of pressure. And if you're not sure what those are, just ask yourself, if I felt peace right now, what would I do that I'm not doing? And that'll kind of show you how you're not showing up. So look at your A line. First of all, if you like your A line, it's not a problem. As I was preparing for this, I was thinking, I bet professional athletes feel pressure to perform. Is there a positive form of this that people like and they enjoy how it feels in their body and it kind of fuels them to perform well? So for some of you, the feeling of pressure may not be a negative emotion if we were to label it like that. But for me, what I was experiencing was negative. I did not like it. I did not want to feel it. And so you can look at your action line and say, do I like how I'm showing up? But for me, I didn't like how I was showing up. I didn't like this feeling. So I sat with it and I asked it, hey, what's going on? What do you feel pressure to do? And it was pressure to make money, pressure to show up, pressure to know the right thing to do. And what I ended up untangling was I had gotten several different forms of advice from different people in my life. Intelligent people, my business coach, people I love and trusted. And they were slightly different pieces of advice. So I noticed that my brain was putting a lot of pressure on me to know the right thing to do and to decide and to do it and to make money. Because here's the thing. Once you are wearing glasses that say you have to figure this out right now, and that leads to the feeling of pressure. Once you put those glasses on, you're going to see it in every part of your life. And that's why I was feeling pressure to solve problems in my marriage and with my home and with my kids. All of a sudden, I was like, oh, I need to hang art in my house. So it's just interesting that it doesn't matter where the first thought comes from that leads to the feeling of pressure. Then once you're in that feeling state, it tends to leak out in all of the different areas of your life. And it feels like it's happening to you. Like you're just watching yourself spin through this emotion like a Tasmanian devil, kind of knocking everything over. And you might even see yourself doing it like, what are you doing, friend? You're acting a fool. Right? So just spending some time to be curious. What's going on? What do we feel pressure to do? And then you're going to get this list of responses of things you feel pressure to do. And I think it's important to bucket them out into two buckets. The first bucket is just straight up things that aren't true. Like, no, you don't. No, you don't need to do that. Okay, I just recorded a Catholic Mom Mindset podcast episode about things you don't need to do for Thanksgiving. And it's like that. Like there are things that we feel pressure to do that we don't really need to do. And that's okay. You can just decide, oh, I see that my brain was thinking we needed to do this, but we don't. And this is just often societal norms or other people's expectations. Um, for me, it might be, listening to a podcast that says this is the way to do business. And that might fall into the bucket of, no, it isn't for me. I'm not going to do that. That's not how I want to do business. So that's the first bucket, is your brain is giving you pressure to do a list of things. And this list, you're going to look at it and go, hey, brain, you were just mistaken. We don't need to do that. And you do this all the time, right? As Catholics, we live counterculturally. There are so many things the world tells us to do, and we say, no, I don't. I do not need to do that. So I want you to know you're already good at that. You're just going to transfer it to this new list that your brain has come up with saying, hey, you've got to do business like this. And you're feeling pressure. And the way we're going to get rid of that feeling is to just tell your brain, I do not need to do that. Okay. Then the second list is things where you actually agree that you do want to do those things. But then you're going to ask yourself, is there a better emotion that can drive me to accomplish this if you don't like the feeling of pressure? So let's say you need to make $2,000 a month to cover your kids' school tuition. Okay. I have clients where their money covers that. I have clients where they make all the money in their house, and so that number is higher. But let's say that we can say objectively, this is how much money you need to make in your life, or there's some sort of consequence. Okay, we can always say, is that a real consequence? Can you just use your savings? Even sometimes within that, it's a false pressure. Like you don't really need to do it. But let's just say we pick a number, $2,000. And you agree. I want to do this. I want to make $2,000 a month. I want to make $10,000 a month. But you recognize as you're going through this exercise, I don't want to do it from the feeling of pressure. And I don't think the choices that I'll make from the feeling of pressure are going to be that great. So that's when I would ask myself, what feeling do I want driving my actions? And, I talk about the model here a lot, and there's 5 lines on the model: your circumstance line, your thought line, your feeling line, your action line, and your result line. I think I teach that in episode 2 or 3 on this podcast if you want to go all the way back. And you can go in at any line. So you can put in the result line $2,000 or $10,000, and then you can go up and say, what are the actions that I would have to take to create that? And then you can ask yourself, what feeling do I want? Or you can go straight in on the feeling line. I love the feeling of peace. I love the feeling of conviction, which means knowing that God is calling me to something. I love the feeling of surrender. That is one of my favorite feelings, particularly when I'm in a launch. So I'm launching the Made for Business Society right now. And I just love knowing that I did my part. So I still show up. I write emails. I'm having calls with people. I'm reaching out to people. I'm putting things on Instagram. I have some episodes with clients coming out soon. So I've done work, but I'm surrendering the outcome to the Lord. Like, Lord, you know which women are going to come right now. Surrender for me is the antidote to pressure. Pressure says Sterling has to do it. Sterling has to figure out the right thing, the magic thing. But for me, I love the feeling of surrender when I think, no, I don't. God has brought me all of my clients. It's going to be true this time too. So peace, conviction, surrender, trust is another version of that. Then you have to ask yourself, this is the most important question. What do I need to think in order to feel that feeling? God has a plan. God brings me my clients. The Holy Spirit brings me my ideas. I've always been taken care of. There's no right way to do it, only the way I choose to try. Right? There's so many sentences that could lead you to the feeling that you want, that will drive your actions, that will give you the result that you're looking for. And so this was a kind of a new experience for me recently. I don't know that I've felt this level of pressure before. And so I wanted to just tell you how I got out of it. And it was just exactly that, awareness of the feeling it in my body, right? Just really sitting with it and being like, whew, there it is. That's that feeling of pressure. And then talking to it. Hey, pressure, what are you trying to tell me? What do you think we need to do? And then just like a toddler, because your unmanaged brain is like a toddler running around with a knife. It's going to be like, it's going to give you this long list of things that it wants. Okay, but just like an actual toddler, some of the things are actual needs that you want to meet for the toddler, and some of them aren't. So your toddler might be like, but I want to watch TV, and I want to eat candy, and I want to paint, and I want to ride an elephant, and I want to sleep on the couch tonight, and I want to get a puppy. And you listen to all of that, and you're like, oh, I think that toddler needs some food and a nap. Those are real needs. Toddler doesn't need to ride an elephant or get a puppy or eat candy. So you're doing the same thing with your brain, this feeling of pressure. And really, you guys, you can do this for any feeling that you don't want. You're just going to bucket it out. What is the truth there? What are the things I actually want to address? And what is my tired, stressed, freaked out brain giving me that isn't true and it isn't something that I need to think about or solve? So I wanted to share this with you because I want you to know that I am always doing my own work. I'm always growing. I'm always learning. I too am navigating how to be a mom and grow a business. And I will never stop learning because I never want to stop growing. And business never just feels easy with no challenges. It doesn't. If you are in business, you are going to encounter challenges. Don't let the challenges convince you that you're not supposed to be in business. It just literally means you're in business. That is what we do. We're problem solvers. And I am constantly problem solving and then turning right around and teaching my clients those skills. And I teach them from this place of living them, of wanting to be a saint, of wanting to be a good mom, of wanting to have peace in my house. And that is what I teach my clients. And that is what we do on this podcast. And then in a deeper way in the Made for Business Society. It is a 12-month program where you are constantly bringing me your drama. And I will tell you something, you guys. I don't solve your problems. I lead you to solve your problems. Which would be better? Thinking, okay, I'm going to pay Sterling to be my coach for 12 months and she's going to solve my problems. Then you would just always have to have me as your coach. Because you would believe that me solving your problems was necessary. But that's not what I do. What I do is I teach you to solve your problems. And I show you that over and over again. I was just talking to one of my clients and she said, I batched out all of my social media content because you really, you motivated me to do that. And I said, I didn't motivate you to do that. I said, I asked you some questions and you decided that you liked that idea and it would help you. And then you motivated you to do that. I can't make anyone do anything. And so when you come, that's why I like to call it business school, because I am teaching you how to solve your own problems. And after 12 months with me, you are going to stand so tall You are going to know that you are a killer problem solver. You're going to know what questions to ask yourself. You're going to know what exercises to go through. Because just like my experience of business, your experience of business is going to be swirly. It's going to be problems. It's going to be wins. It's going to be challenges. It's going to be huge celebrations and then doubt and fear. That never goes away, right? We all just watched Taylor Swift sell tickets to Ticketmaster, and then Ticketmaster like totally kerfluffled selling the tickets to her fans. And that's just a business problem because she's in business, and it doesn't matter how big you get or how much money you make or how famous you are. If you're in business, you're going to encounter challenges. But hopefully after listening to this podcast, if you experience the challenge of feeling a lot of pressure in your business, now you know how to unwind that. So I changed the requirements for the society this round. The requirements are you have to be willing to work at least 10 hours a week. So if you want to work less than that, you're probably not a good fit. I'm working with women that are really trying to build a business from home. And I think you can do that in 10 hours a week. A lot of my clients are at the 15 to 20 hour mark. And that you want to have a business that does $5,000 a month. So if you're looking for a business that does $500 or $1,000 a month, totally fine, not a problem. But I would consider that side hustle money. The business society is not for that. It is for women that want to get to $5,000 months or $10,000 months. But I always start everybody first with the 5. Let's get to 5 and then we can talk about what it would look like to get to 10. So those are the requirements. And then you still have to get on the phone with me and we're going to talk about your business. I'm going to ask you questions and I will let you know if you're a good fit. And I will also let you know if I don't think now is the time. But I promise you, if that's what I tell you, it will feel so good. And I will also tell you what I think your work is. So I just invited 3 people today and we kick off on November 29th. It is going to be an amazing group of women. If you have felt stuck in your business, if you're not working because you're feeling crushing pressure, like you know that God is calling you to business and you have a great idea, but you're just spinning out in drama, I want you to get on the phone with me. Tell me what's going on. Let's talk about it. I will show you what having a coach is like. And I will invite you to this program if it is the right time and if you are a good fit. And it is an incredible group of women and it is a powerful program. And 12 months from now, you will have so much confidence in yourself as a business owner and a problem solver. Thank you so much for listening and have a blessed day.